Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Churchill Downs here on Saturday evening. It is June the 16th, 2018. It's Stephen Foster handicap night from Churchill, and I'm going to look at all the stakes races. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world. We have 5 stakes races to look at. It's a part of an all stakes pick 5, and I might play the pick 5 maybe. I might wait until next week until Royal Ascot to make some money also. But we're going to look at races 5 through 9, so let's get on to it. Starting off with race number 5 from Churchill. The 5th race, it's the 25th running of the Matt Win Stakes. Grade 3, purse $100,000. It's for 3-year-olds here. Field of 7 horses going the distance of ground of 1,700 meters, or the distance of ground of a mile and 1/16 on the Churchill main track. 1,700 meters, mile 16th, and I show the diagram. Just gives me a second to look down a minute. Just bear with me. I almost lost my notes. I thought they were on the other side of the room, but I have them right here. My top selection here, and to start off the pick 5, if I would play it, I would single the 7-horse Axeman. I'm gonna go 7-3-5-4 in the superfecta. 7-3-5-4 super. My top selection here, the 7-horse Axeman. 4-5. Bob Baffert trains. Mike Smith gets on this one. This horse's most recent outing came on 19th of May at Pimlico. Sloppy Sulu going a mile and 1/16 into Sir Barton. This horse won by 6 3/4 lengths that day. It was a very speed-favoring, sloppy, gloopy racetrack, and this horse just took advantage of it. Had a very just easy victory there. First start on slop, first start out of California. Second off the layoff. Before that, this horse ran the 8th of April at Santa Anita, 1 mile and optional 75 claimer, 9-1X. This horse won by 8.5 lengths. This horse stalked early, got the lead, and then they took off clear. Very nice victory for this one there. And then the 10th of February at Santa Anita, 7 furlongs in grade 2, San Vicente. Horse finished 4th by 16 lengths, 40 cents to the dollar favor. He just ran a little bit fast too early on. He just kind of weakened out of it. I like him a lot here today. He's been training here at Churchill since the Sir Barton victory. He's been training well. I like him a lot. Watch out for him. Single to begin the pick 5. So to recap my bets for the 5th from Churchill, it's the 21st winning of the Grade 3 Mount Win Stakes. Gonna go with the 7-horse Axeman. Gonna go 7-3-5-4 in the superfecta. So now let's get on to race number 6 from Churchill. The 6th race, it's the 29th running of the Wise Dan. Grade 2 purse, $200,000. It's for 3-year-olds and upwards here. Field of 8 horses going the distance of ground of 1,700 meters, or the distance of ground of 1,700 meters, or the distance of ground of a mile and 1/16 on the turf course. The rails are at 0 feet, so there will be no portable rails this afternoon or this evening. 1,700 meters, a mile 16th, and before I get on to this race, I love when you see an A signal, an A+ signal on on the evening. Like I used to love the Meadowlands when they used to run thoroughbreds at night years ago. You would see some very good horses there, and occasionally, Hollywood Park used to run evenings years ago on Friday nights, and that used to love that, and I do like watching Churchill on when they have those evening fixtures, and sometimes it's hard to find the live feed for Churchill, but sometimes it's easy. Here in New York City, it's somewhat easy to find the live feed of Churchill, because here in New York City we have something called it used to be called the New York City OTB channel. Now it's called the Naira Bets TV network, and they show usually when Naira is running, like Belmont, Aqueduct, whatever, they'll show the whole card from Aqueduct, and then from, say, the card ends at like 5:30 in the afternoon, from 5:30 until midnight, they'll show simulcast racing from all across the country. You'll probably usually you'll catch the end of the card from Churchill, the end of the card from Santa Anita, and you'll see the nighttime fixtures of like Evangel and Charlestown, and then end up with the Australian racing. So when Churchill runs at night here in New York City, you can find the signal on the old New York City OTB channel. Used to be channel 71. Everybody in New York City knows about that. But back to the I get off subject sometimes, but back to the 6th race now from Churchill, the Wise Dan. I think it's a 2-horse race here. As a top selection, I like the 1-horse Diversadero. I'm gonna go 1-4-3-8 in the superfecta. 1-4 3-8 Super. My top selection, the 1-horse Versadero, will be used on a multi-race ticket, the pick 5, along with the 4-horse World Approval. I'll get to him in a second, but first we're going to start off with the 1-horse Versadero. 3-1, Jevian Toledo's on this Kelly Rubley trained 6-year-old horse by Kenton's Joy, and this horse ran a decent effort last time out at Monmouth. The mile 8th in the Grade 2 Monmouth Stakes. This horse finished second by 3/4 of a length. You know, he sat about last early on in that race, but he had a great turn of foot at the end. He just missed, but he ran a very good run first off the break. Before that, he ran the 7th of October last year at Keeneland, 1 mile in the Shadwell Turf Mile. This horse finished 4th by 2 1/4 lengths. He had a decent turn of foot at the end. He, wasn't a bad outing there. And then the Arlington Million at Arlington Park, mile and a quarter, August the 12th. Horse finished 7th by 2 1/2 lengths, a little bit wide, and he just didn't have the best of moves at the end. Beach Patrol ran a great race that day. But this horse loves this turf course. Won the Turf Classic in 2017, won the Turf Classic in 2016, and won the American Turf in 2015. All those races, this horse is closing from nowhere. There's quite a bit of speed in this one, and I think closing from nowhere should really help this horse. He's 3-1 right now in the morning line. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes off at 5-1. I think everybody's going to probably bet World Approval into the ground, and I think the Versadero is a great play in this race. At 3-1 right now, I'll take him. Say the Versadero doesn't say there's not a strong enough kick, which strong enough pace in this race, which I highly doubt, but say there isn't, I think World Approval has the edge on that one. 6-5, 6-year-old gun by Northern Fleet. John Velasquez gets the leg up. This horse ran the Kilroy Mile at Santa Anita a few months ago now, 1 mile, March the 10th. This horse finished 5th by 3 3/4 lengths. He wasn't with his regular rider Velasquez that day, and he just stalked and had nothing. The ground was a little bit, it was on the softer side of firm, and maybe that affected him. It was a little, overcast day, and, he just couldn't, get a handle of it. But other than that, he ran quite well before that. He won the Tampa Bay Stakes at Tampa Bay very easily by a half length, closing up well. Won the Breeders' Cup Mile very nicely. Surprised me there because I didn't expect him to do anything. Won the Woodbine Mile very easily, and then he won the 4-Star Dave on a very waterlogged heavy turf course an hour before a half hour before the 4-Star Dave at Saratoga last summer. The skies just opened up and it poured, and this horse, even with that wet heavy going, this horse just took clear. I like him a lot here today. Off the break back to his home base. Watch out for him. I want a better price than 6-5, and 6-5 is, that's a little. That's high in the odds in this one because, like I said, he's going to get really bent to the ground. I think the Versadero is a little bit of a better shot here with the odds because I wouldn't be surprised if Versadero goes a 5-1, so I'll use him also. But to recap my bets for the 6th from Churchill, it's the 29th running of the Grade 2 Wisedan. As a top selection here, I lose the 1-horse Versadero. I'll go 1-4-3-8 in the superfecta. I'll go 1-4 in the pick 5. Race number 7 now from Churchill. The 7th race is the 43rd running of the Fleur de Lis Handicap. It's a Grade 2 race going for a purse of $200,000 to fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 9 horses going the distance of ground of 1,800 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 1/8 on the Churchill main track. 1,800 meters, 1 1/8. And Florida Liz, I believe it is a horse, but sorry, I'm blanking at the minute. Can't remember who, but there's something a little off subject also. Like I get off subject many times, I know. But there's something called Florida Sel, which is a French sea salt, and every time I see this race, it always reminds me of salts. Try the Florida Sel; it's really good. It's a great finishing salt. Also, it's great in caramel if you ever make caramel. But back to the race now. The 7th race, the Florida Liz, not the Florida Sel, but the Florida Liz from Churchill. As a top selection here, I like the 3-horse Blue Prize. I'm going to go 3-7-9-2 in the superfecta. 3-7-9-2 super. Multi-race scenario. This is a race, I think my top 3 in this race could probably hit the board to win. So I'll use all 3 of them in the pick 5. So those numbers are the 3, 7, 9 in my pick 5 ticket. But as a top selection here, the 3-horse Blue Prize, an Argentinian bred 5-year-old mare by Pure Prize. Jose Ortiz gets the leg up on this one. This horse ran the 18th of May at Pimlico during their very sloppy meet. Mile Nathan, the dew point to staff. This horse finished second by half length, and sat a little bit closer that day. Dueled a little bit early on. She had to lead by quite a bit at the in the in the stretch, but then she got caught right at the wire by Song of Spring, who's running back of this one. Song of Spring ran a great race. I don't think she's going to run well here today. I think the dew point was a little bit lighter quality, and she just was she had the advantage of a little bit of a pace meltdown, but this Blue Prize, I don't think she really liked that very sloppy going. I think here's back to Churchill, the home base. I really like this horse. She chances a lot more. Hopefully she doesn't duel today also to save a little bit in the tank. Before that, she ran the 15th of April here at Aqueduct here in New York. Mile Nathan, the Top Flight Invitational. This horse won by a neck. She only had 5 of the rivals that day, and she stalked early. She got the lead, and she took off clear. Very nice victory there. And then the Azari at Oakland, mile 16th, March 17th. Horse finished 7 by 8 3/4 lengths. She stalked and had nothing that day. First off the break, she definitely needed the race, but probably her biggest claim to fame, I think, came here at Churchill last November the 23rd, Thanksgiving, at Churchill. Mile Nathan, the Grade 2 Fall City Handicap. This horse put on a show. She won by 8.5 lengths. Another race, she only had 5 of the rivals, but she stalked early. She got the lead, and then she took off in the quarter-mile stretch. A very easy victory for this horse. Her only victory in 2017, but it counted. It was a great one. She likes running here at Churchill. She's 3-1, but she has 2 second-place finishes, and both those second-place finishes were great races. I like her a lot here today. 7-2, watch out for her. I actually might play 2 pick 5 tickets. One of just my top selections and one where I go deep in my cheap ticket. I probably would single this horse here because she is a nice horse, but she can also not run a race. So the other horses I like here are the 7-horse Valadorna, who personally I've been screwed by her quite a few times in 2017. I believe I did back her a few weeks ago. Well, I didn't back her in the Double Dog Dare a few weeks ago at Keelan, where she did win. She had a great turn of foot there. This kind of horse, Valadorna, that should really love the long stretch here at Churchill, and I think coming back here, she should run a big one. She's been training very nicely, and watch out for her to be on the up and up. And I think the 9-horse Farrell, the speed in this one, if she sets the pace on the front end lightly, I think she can maybe go wire to wire. She has run here at Churchill 8 times in the past, and she has 3 victories. She's been training over the course well, and her last race in the La Trion was quite good. I like her a lot here too. About 3-1, it's not the best prices, even though 7-2 is not the best prices either. But as a top selection here, I am inclined to go with Blue Prize also. But in the pick 5, I'll go 3 deep. So to recap my bets for the 7th from Churchill, it's the 43rd running of the Florida Liz Handicap. Gonna go with the 3-horse Blue Prize. Gonna go 3-7-9-2 in the superfecta. I'll go 3-7-9 in the pick 5. So now let's get on to today's 8th race from Churchill. The 8th race, it's the feature race of the evening. It's the 38th running of the Stephen Foster Handicap. It's Grade 1 race going for a purse of $500,000. This race is for 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 9 horses going the distance of ground of 1,800 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/8 on the Churchill main track. 1,800 meters, mile and 1/8. All winning you're in for the Breeders' Cup Classic coming up in about 5 months' time here at Churchill. It's going to be good to see the Breeders' Cup Breeders' Cup back at Churchill this year. It's I personally I like the way they've been doing it the last few years. No more every year at Santa Anita or every year at Churchill. It's been a little break since Churchill has run it, so like I said, it's going to be good. But hopefully every year it's going to be different, like it used to be years ago. Still, I don't think they announced who's going to get it in 2019. I read some articles that Laurel wants it, and personally, I wouldn't be surprised if Laurel gets it in 2019. Personally, I would love to see here in Belmont to get it again. They haven't had it since 2005, and hopefully Belmont gets it in the near future. Well, probably not in the near future because they're building the new Coliseum or the new arena at Belmont, so they're probably gonna have to wait until 2022, something like that. But hopefully Laurel gets the Breeders' Cup next year, maybe the year after. Maybe they could go back to Santa Anita because it's it is good there after a little bit of a break of I don't know, 4 years, what's going to be in 2020, and maybe they could have it somewhere else, like maybe Gulfstream for the first time in 20 years, 21 years at the time. So hopefully, the Brewers Cup switches around. God, I'm going off on tangents here. Let me get back to the Stephen Foster here. My top selection, I like the 2-horse Patch. He's 10-1 right now. He's going to get bet into the ground, and I'll tell you why in a second. I'm going to go 2-6-4-8 in the superfecta. 2-6-4-8 super to the multi-race scenario. I'm going to use a 2-horse Patch. I'll use the 6-horse Backyard Heaven. I think he can run a big one. And I might use Uncle Moho. He's a horse that he might be used, he might not be used. I have to see the ticket price at the end, but definitely I'll use the 2 and the 6. My top selection, the 2-horse Patch, 4-year-old colt by Union Rags. Luis Saez is on this one for Tom Fletcher. He's 10-1 here. He's gonna get bet into the ground because he has only one eye, and in 2017 on the Derby Trail they kept mentioning that during the Derby broadcast, the Belmont broadcast, and everybody wants to see, look, the one-eyed horse, and everybody bets him. And then he usually goes off lower than he should. On certain races he shouldn't win, but on races he should win, you're screwed because he's 10-1. He's going to get bet into the ground at 3-1, and then you don't get that 10-1. But whatever. This Patch's most recent outing came here in New York at Belmont a few weeks ago. Mile and the 16th allowance race, 95,000 on 1X. This horse won by a neck, and he didn't have the best starts that day. It was a little bit wide, but had a decent turn of foot at the end, closed up well just to get the victory. First off the break, it was an okay race. Before that, the 5th of August at Mountaineer, mile and the 8th in the West Virginia Derby. His horse finished 4th by 4 1/4 lengths. He set about mid-pack that day. A little bit of turn of foot at the end. It wasn't a bad race there, but he should have won. And then before that, in the Belmont, mile and a half, June 10th, horse finished 3rd by 7 3/4 lengths. Tabret and Irish War Cry ran 2 of the best races that day. His horse didn't break that well, was a little bit wide, and just his wheels were spinning in the stretch. He got 3rd out of default, I think. And then the Kentucky Derby at Churchill, a mile and a quarter, May the 6th. He finished 14th by 21 lengths, didn't have the best of trips, and it just wasn't his day to win. I like him a lot here today, second off the break. You should love this mile and the 8th distance. You should like the long stretch here at Churchill. I'll be all over him, so watch out. I also like the 6-horse Backyard Heaven, 6-5, 4-year-old colt by Tisway. Irider Ortiz Jr.'s on this one. He ran a great race in the Alley Sheba a few weeks ago here at Churchill, mile 16th, May the 4th. Horse won by 4.5 lengths. He stalked early, he got the lead, and then he took off clear. Very, first stakes race for this horse. It was a success. All around decent run. Before that at Aqueduct, 1 mile march to 17th in the allowance race, 6-7,000. His horse won by 1 1/4 lengths. He stalked early, a little dueling maybe in the midpoint of the race after the stalking early, but he took off in the straight, and it was a good victory for this horse. And then before that at Aqueduct, 1 mile main special weight, 6,000, 7/10. Horse won by 5 lengths, 20 cents a dollar favorite. Again, he just had a very good turn of foot and a very subpar field. He's been training well here in New York at Belmont on the training track. At 6-5, he looks like he could be the main speed in this race, and if he could set some easy fractions, maybe he could go wire to wire. At 6-5, I'll take my chances with him. So to recap my bets for today's 8th race from Churchill, it's the 38th running of the Grade 1 Stephen Foster Handicap. Gonna go with the 2-horse Patch. I'm gonna go 2-6-4-8 in the superfecta, 2-6-4-8 super. I'll go 2-6 in the pick 5. So let's get on to race number 9 from Churchill. In the 9th race, final leg of the pick 5, the all stakes pick 5 from Churchill. The 9th race, it's the 49th running of the Regret Stakes, grade 3, purse $100,000. This race is for fillies, 3-year-olds here. Field of 13 horses going the distance of ground of 1,800 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 1/8 miles on the Churchill turf course. 1,800 meters, 1 1/8 miles. Top selection here. I like the 2-horse, as my iPad craps out. The number 2 horse, as we wait. Again, the number 2 horse, Consolidor, or Consolida. I can't speak. I've been talking for 20 minutes. Pardon that. But I'm gonna go 2-8-12-6. 2-8-12-6 super. Top selection, the 2 horse Consolidator, whatever. Consoletta. I'm in the multi race. I'm gonna go with the 2 horse. I'm gonna use the 8 horse Beyond the Blame also, and I might use the 12 horse Go Noni Go, but definitely the first two of my super I'll use. But the 2 horse my top selection for the fifth fucking time. 10-1 here. John Velasquez on this Patrick Gallagher trained 3-0 filly by Sir Percy. Horse's most recent outing came on the 5th of May at Santa Anita. 1 mile in the Grade 3 Senorita. His horse finished 4th by 2 lengths that day, and he's at about mid pack that day. A little bit of a turn of foot, but he probably needed the race. It was his first race since come back west, and he probably, like I said, he needed it, or she needed it. Before that 17th of March at Turfway, mile in the Bourbonnais Oaks, horse finished 5th by 11 lengths and didn't have a lot that day. Horrible beginning, a little bit wide, and just was empty in the straight. But before that, in the California Oaks at Golden Gate, mile 16th, February 10th, horse won by 1/4 lengths, and she had a great turn of foot from the back of the pack, and she got the victory. Very nice victory for this horse. I think she's going to be a lot better turf horse than she would be a dirt or even a synthetic horse. She has a great turn of foot for this turf course, and I think at 10-1 with a good inside poster she could get it, so watch out for her. And I think the 8 horse Beyond the Blame could run a big one. Florent Giroux is on this one, this 3-0 filly by Blame. This horse's most recent outing came Derby weekend here at Churchill, mile 16th in Grade 3 Edgewood. His horse finished 6 by 6 lengths and didn't have the best beginnings. A little bit of a turn of foot at the end, but it wasn't enough to win. Hopefully with a better break, this horse could really do a lot better. Also, this race is not nearly as tough as the Edgewood. Before that, this horse ran at the fairgrounds, 1 mile in Ops 50 Claimer. Horse won by 4 lengths, stalked early, got the lead, and then she could have won by more, but, Florent Giroux didn't want to kill the horse. It was a very nice victory for this horse there. And then a 50,000 overnight stakes at the fairgrounds, 1 mile, March 10th. Horse finished 2nd by a length. Didn't have the best of beginnings, but she had a decent turn of foot at the end. She's been training here at Churchill. Most recent workout came on the turf course with the dogs up June the 10th. 4 furlongs on firm ground and 48-4. The second best workout of 5. She's coming into this race well, sitting a little bit closer. I like her a lot. Watch out for her. So to recap my bets for the 9th from Churchill, it's the 49th running of the Grade 3 Regret. Gonna go with the 2-horse Consolida as a top selection. Gonna go 2-8, 12-6 in the superfecta. I'll go 2-8 in the multi-race pick 5. Maybe I'll use the 12-horse also if the ticket, if I have enough bankroll. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck, everybody.